Welcome back to Ascending with Ashley. I'm Ashley. This is Astral Travel. Last night I hung out with a bunch of fucking vampires. That was crazy. I believe it had to do with who I talked to on this plane of existence yesterday. And basically, it was a room. It was kind of like an apartment. But it was like an upstairs apartment. Kind of reminds me of the one I lived in Green Bay, but it wasn't that one. And there were like different beds, like big beds. And it was like a very homey feel. But essentially it was people trying to run away from vampires because the vampires were like turning people. I was thinking about vampires a little bit yesterday. I had an exchange with an energy vampire. But it ended with, his name was Jason, which I find interesting because like at the end of it, I had gotten all the other vampires to stop turning people into vampires through my persuasion, I guess, and great logic skills. But then there's this one, again, his name is Jason, well, he was called Jason, and he got this mask, he like pulled this mask down, he's like, I'd love to do that, but I can't, and he pulled down this mask, and it was in this like black velvet bag, and he pulled it out, and it was like the mask of Jason. Is that a thing? I don't watch horror movies because I'm so fucking sensitive, but it was like bedazzled, it was like bedazzled in like black gemstones. It was very interesting. Anyway, and then he like turned his head like this and like smirked at me, like evil smirk, and went down the stairs. That's why I know there were stairs. Interesting. And it's just like, if I put all of these together, one thing I really enjoy doing on the astral plane is eating snacks and being in water. I've noticed that is a theme. But this one was terrifying because it was like you didn't know who was going to be attacked next, and so it was like constantly like all of us were on edge, all of us were like trying to keep the kids safe. Oh, it was very intense. So like we were like laying in this bed by choice. We weren't like strapped in or anything, but it was like the only place we could be. So it was like stairs, and then there's a room with beds, and then there was like a bathroom closet, which was like where he went to get the mask. It was pretty terrifying. It's terrifying because it's so fucking real. Like it's so like when I wake up, I'm like, oh, okay, good. I'm like, I wasn't turned into a vampire last night, and like, it's very intense. But I don't know. It was weird. And it was weird because like I'm having a tooth problem, and like there was at one point I was trying to turn someone into a vampire, and I'm like, I can't bite them because I have a tooth problem. So I didn't turn anyone into a vampire, and I'm not a vampire. But I believe that vampires are like, I mean, vampire in the sense of like bloodthirsty psychopath. Right? Even if you just take the word vampire, you don't like separate from all the mass media. Yeah. Anyway, it's kind of terrifying. That smirk too. I'll remember that. Ugh. So he like turned around, smirked, and then he was like going off out into the world to like turn people into vampires. Off topic slightly. I want to talk about the zombie apocalypse because okay, I'm gonna put a harsh truth here. This is real life. It's not astral travel. And I have shared it before. But if you haven't watched, I'll link the interview below. Finkelstein or something, I think is his name. He's a rabbi, and he made an interview years and years and years ago about how the Zionists, he uses the word Jewish, But as we've learned in the past few months, those are not interchangeable words. Zionists are completely different than Jewish folks, right? Zionists utilize Jews and Jewish people and religion to carry out their own agenda. But Zionists are evil, crazy people, as we can see, if you've seen what's happening. Anyway, and like at a global scale, it's not just, okay. So anyway, he did this interview where he said the American people are so stupid. Like, we're killing your children. Like, your children are going missing. We're killing them, and then we're feeding them back to you in fast food chains. Trigger warning, I guess. Sorry, spoiler alert. I've shared this before. I think people think that I feel like we're getting to a point where more folks are jumping on board with conspiracy theories, which is just the truth. The system calls them conspiracy theories. That's what they did to the Black Panther Party to disband it, okay? The conspiracy theories itself is like a conspiracy theory, which is just irony. Everything is backwards. That's the main thing. But anyway, should I get my hair cut? No, I'm kidding. I'm thinking a lot about the boycotts because we're boycotting McDonald's and we're boycotting. I really want to talk about McDonald's specifically. McDonald's was started by two black brothers. Did you know this? And they were bought and sold out, and it changed into something crazy. But anyway, McDonald's specifically does sell ground up human meat and puts it in their patties and stuff like that. They buy that from the Jewish folks, from these people who are killing your kids, harvesting their organs. This has all become common knowledge in the past few months. If you're not aware of it, that means you haven't looked into it. That's fine. But it has circulated at a global scale to become common knowledge, fact. There have been human rights reports, there have been NGOs and nonprofits and governments who have researched the organ harvesting. And Zionists themselves, Israeli people, are they brag about the organ harvesting. So anyway, what do they do with those bodies? We're seeing them in Palestine dig up and excavate bodies where they're harvesting their organs, and then they are grinding those people up and putting them in fast food chain meat, which is why I don't eat meat. I don't eat any meat. I don't want Nile to either anymore. But I'm thinking about the zombie apocalypse because that's always been the premise. Maybe that's why the vampires had me over last night. Is that the premise has always been that it's humans who eat other humans, right? And so the other day I saw a picture from Gaza, and it was a hospital, and it had been infiltrated by the IOF, and what they had left behind was tons of McDonald's wrappers, and it just made me, it was like this aha moment where we can connect those things together, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense why they're cannibals, literally, and probably without their knowledge, honestly. And so that's why I don't think you should eat meat, especially fast food meat. You should probably stop that. Oh my god, you're eating other humans. And I will put the link below here, where in the interview, and he says in the interview, he's like, we tell you this, we're telling you that we do this, we're telling you that we steal your kids, we take their organs, we sell them, and then we grind your children up and feed them back to you. We tell you that we're doing this, and you are so dumb that you don't believe us. So anyway, little darkness for your Wednesday. Good morning. But honestly, this is the world we live in, and it's important to know about. I think it's important to know about zombies and vampires. I do. I believe that they're real, obviously. I mean, who else is so bloodthirsty doing these things, you know? I don't really think they're two necessarily different sects of people, but possibly. And if you think I'm crazy, go listen to some indigenous folks, because they've been doing this for years, like since colonization in this country, right? I mean, all native folks. Palestinians are native folks. Like, you don't treat other humans that way, you know, unless you're a vampire or a fucking zombie. And zombies are brain dead. Like, these kids who are doing this and carrying this stuff out are brain dead. They were raised to be brainwashed, to specifically serve the empire of Israel and United States, because, you know, they're like one and the same. Anyway, I applaud you if you made it this far. 10 minutes of probably sounding crazy, but honestly, I'm so sick of people telling me I'm crazy when y'all are the fucking idiots. Alright? And I don't mean that offensively, especially if you're here watching this. It's not you I'm talking about. But, I mean, the facts and the truth and the reports and the graphs and the studies are out there, you know? If you're choosing not to see that, that doesn't make me crazy. Bye.